I have a lot of stuff and toys here. So if you are physical, so even if you are just next door, I would highly suggest to come over, because you can only really take part if you try out some of the devices that we actually have here. So it will be very hands-on. We'll about do 20 minutes of interactive lecture, and then it will turn into a full job workshop where I just run around and you experiment yourself. You build your own IoT system. I'm not doing the full class, what I do in the university, but you will hopefully get a taste of what is possible. So very quickly, something about myself. I'm a computer science professor at the University of Tartu, but I'm a kind of weird professor because I have been all around the world teaching, and so I'm not only an educator, but I'm working as a consultant. I work a lot as a mentor, as you have seen me even doing here. I like to do research, but sometimes this research is more inventing new things. I consider myself to be quite technically skilled, so I've also worked as a YouTuber, so feel free to check out my YouTube channel, though you will get a second YouTube channel today where more of my IoT and teaching stuff is, because I did this under the umbrella of the university and not under my personal brand. So the other stuff is actually more modern. But I've been living and teaching in Estonia, and in the US, Germany, Austria, Kazakhstan, Singapore, Indonesia, and Brazil. Maybe I can add Latvia in the future to it. And my main research areas are Internet of Things, in which facility you see me at the moment, but a lot of people know me also from working in virtual reality and augmented reality. That was the other meeting we had here in Latvia. The merge of this is called the digital twin. So if I want to talk about both things at the same time, I'm talking about digital twins. But I'm very interested actually in education itself. So everything I do is to try to improve the way I interact with students and try to make the learning experience as nice as possible. My background is software engineering, but I like to talk about the field of software engineering that I'm in the terms of software craftsmanship. So I like really to program, and I like if people program. So you now know something about myself, so very quickly, something about you. Who can program here, or who has some programming experience? Okay, that's good. That will help, but don't worry if you don't. We will show you today something that also, if you've never programmed, might bring you into doing a tiny bit of programming. Who has some experience with all these devices I brought here, with Arduino and microcontrollers or Raspberry Pis or so? Ah, cool. Are there any fellow teachers here? Who likes teaching? Who hates teaching? Or he cares about teaching. One more question which I didn't put on here. Who has some experience with the Internet of Things? I know one guy. Ah, yeah, good. Yeah, AI is probably a lot of people. I think we can use AI today. Large language models is fine to use in my workshop, but it will be not very AI related here. A little bit about my connection with IoT, and I usually in my classes the students have to figure out what IoT and coffee have in common. So I was in Indonesia, that's where I started drinking coffee, and I met another educator who was running a makerspace there and published on books about the democratization of hardware and the democratization of actually using hardware and software to make the world more accessible for you. There's this nice guy, William Hugh, and he told me that some of these cheap devices that I have here will change the world, and I told him, you're full of it, I don't believe you, but I actually came around later and saw that these devices are so affordable that any student can actually get them, but they're very enabling because, yeah, you have like a $2 computer that can do it, or can do a lot of things. And so we always said, yeah, and it's just like the price of one coffee. And the funny thing is that this development board that you see down here is actually called the Espresso Light because it's from the Espresso company. So we had a lot of puns and connections about coffee and the devices we are working with. So you might have heard, the people who have worked with Arduino, you might have heard about the ESP8266 and the ESP32. They are all from the Chinese company Espressif. And so this Espressif board is much more affordable, much more powerful than an Arduino, which costs 10 times more than the respective Chinese board. So the ASP has enabled the whole career of my Internet of Things journey. And because it's called like espresso, I started drinking espresso at the time. That's why coffee and Internet of Things for me is one of the same thing. So, but I want to still know what you know about IoT. So I don't like to talk a lot. I like teaching. So you all know some way to browse the internet, or you have already worked with it. So either pick your brain now or ask Google or some LLM that you trust. And we want to come up very quickly in 5 minutes with a definition of the Internet of Things and challenges that you have regarding the Internet of Things in the project you are doing here on the hackathon. Maybe you don't have any Internet of Things challenges, it's fine too, but I know that some of you have definitely something where Internet of Things plays a role. To facilitate that, find this challenge, find 3 domains where the Internet of Things plays a role, hopefully in your domain of the thing. So one example of domain would be home automation, or one example would be healthcare, but please find some other domains where Internet of Things can play a role. Then I want you to find 2 data protocols. Yeah? How do we speak Internet of Things in a technical term? I will not give you any lead, but I'm pretty sure you will find some. And find 2 typical devices. Yeah, also people online, so please do the same exercise. It will be about 5 minutes. You're probably faster because you can quicker kind of switch to a different window. And then already see if you find a good definition, copy it, else we will make one together. So 5 minutes, you try to find a challenge, 3 domains, 2 protocols, and 2 typical devices. And I will make a longer break than 10 seconds now. As we have seen yesterday, that's a powerful thing to do. So take your phone, Google something, work with your neighbor, that is fine. This is more of a workshop than a lecture to you. I always say, in a workshop, you work and I shop. And that's why I will now run around and see how you make progress. So let's start with the domains. What other domains than healthcare and home automation have you found where Internet of Things plays a role?
I have found a very interesting domain. It's smart cities.
Smart cities is a great domain.
Traffic and waste management and environmental.
Oh, let's give the others a chance too.
Those are the parts of the smart city.
Yeah, I see you're right.
Really interesting.
Waste management, recycling, urban monitoring. Yeah, public monitor, urban monitoring. In principle, also related to smart cities.
Industry 4 and 5.0.
Industry. What is 5.0? I don't know yet, but is it? This is 4.0 plus AI, yeah?
No. Plus human beings.
Plus.
Human-centric approach.
Ah.
The same Industry 4.0 plus human-centric approach. The most interesting thing is that industry representatives love Industry 4.0. But 5.0 they also love, but not so much because they have
Only if they get money for it.
Exactly.
They love it from the other side.
Yeah.
From the other side.
Can we throw in yours? Your domain?
Transport logistics for sure.
Actually, transport and logistics in general, so warehouse management and all this stuff.
There are a lot of applications under that.
Yeah. You guys found a domain? Tourism, you just said, yeah? Tourism is a...
New start. New start.
security. Ah, yeah, kind of like emergency management and all this stuff.
Can be.
Uh,
Because the lady said that home automations, I didn't say home security.
Ah, okay.
Can use it.
Mm-hmm.
Can we use it also like in education? For example, now we have this temperature checking in all schools and
Oxygen level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
oxygen level. And this is already
This is very cool. I don't even have that on my next slide. So I always say, guys, making and hacking is in principle a domain of Internet of Things, which is kind of education. But I think the nicest term we can give to it is called citizen science. So citizen science is a nice Internet of Things domain. Okay, enough. What did you discover in terms of technical things? What data protocols did you stumble upon? I just hope you find at least one which we will use here, but let's see.
ESP32.
That is a device.
The protocol that it uses.
It can use any protocol. ESP32, ESP8266, Raspberry Pi.
Constrained application protocol.
Yeah, isn't this co-op? Yeah.
So, yes,
Yeah.
COA. What is it? Yes, COA. Yeah.
Yeah, co-op. That's what your IKEA devices speak when you do your home automation. They speak co-op. And if you mention co-op, can you mention the other really important one? Okay, I will give it to you. It's MQTT, the message queuing telemetry transport, which is even older than co-op, but basically MQTT is the language that IoT devices speak, and we will use it today. Other devices, so we have kind of microcontrollers, but what are kind of typical smart devices that you have experienced, have seen? What about the Philips Hue? Has anybody used the smart bulb at home? Or you have, what about Alexa or something like that? Yeah. Does anybody have a smart washing machine or so?
Thermostats also.
Oh yeah. HVAC. Great, yeah. Of course, this is kind of the classic application. So logistics is the original domain, and NFC tags, yeah. Yeah, RFID tags play kind of a huge role in the history of the Internet of Things.
And the Bluetooth tags as well.
Bluetooth tags, of course. Which opens a whole nother rabbit hole.
The big one.
Maybe that is a good thing to go to the challenges from the Bluetooth tags. What challenges do we face in the...
IoT,
Yeah. Or especially for your personal domain.
as I've mentioned, the network coverage.
Network coverage, and I like to call that...
security also.
Oh yeah, coverage,
Accessibility as well.
security,
Knowledge.
privacy, what also...
Bandwidth for the trade.
That's connectivity. There was something...
Instructions, for example, user knowledge. If you are using something, you have to know how to use it. But it's very usually that there is no explanation.
Oh yeah, UX design is...
Exactly.
That's kind of tricky, kind of. Sometimes setting up things take way too long in the Internet of
Actually,
Things.
the next challenge could be the regulations.
Oh, good stuff.
Because in some parts of the world you can do something with the broadband, and in other ones you can't.
Anything personal for some of the projects you had this kind?
Sold it.
So, yeah, the hardware, yeah, soldering, creation, manufacturing, yeah.
Yeah, and the installation, but I had to fit the sizes with the environment if you use it.
Environmental concern, also. Yeah.
That's cool.
So, any definitions? Anybody found something really cool? I will only write down one. Is there anything coming online?
No.
Hmm.
Just the basic definition.
Please read for us.
Yeah, the devices that are working within a one network and communicate between themselves.
Okay, so that is a definition that is very much about connectivity. Mm-hmm.
Basically cloud workers. But I kind of compare them to like ecosystems, like any ecosystem that a big company uses to like make a communication between the devices.
Okay, anybody has kind of a concise one that ChatGPT or so generated that you could read to us?
What about challenges?
No, a definition for IoT. What is the Internet of Things? Yeah, but so we have seen already, yeah, physical devices that have some form of intelligence that connect in a system together, so it's not one device. So a robot is not necessarily a thing of the Internet of Things. Yeah, so a robot, several robots can be part of an Internet of Things system, but a single robot is not necessarily, depends on the use case, an Internet of Things device. It belongs to a different class. I don't know, not everybody is as old as me here, some are. So you might remember these terms of ubiquitous computing and pervasive computing. That was kind of before things came. So it's basically computing everywhere around us. The things kind of go into hiding. So a good Internet of Things is actually not notable and merges into the background. So that's what the promises of ubiquitous computing and pervasive computing were. I always compare it to the development of cloud computing. So I would say cloud computing is a little further in terms of business development than the Internet of Things. And in the beginning, we were very sad because we called cloud computing grid computing before it was called cloud computing, and virtual machines and server management. So that kind of matured into this more like business term cloud computing. And I think the Internet of Things is also the same thing. It's kind of a easier to capture term that encompasses some of the technologies we had already for a while. So yeah. My PhD was actually on home automation in the beginning of the 2000s, where, yeah, also Internet of Things wasn't a thing, but definitely I did Internet of Things in my PhD. A little bit ahead of my time. Yeah, here urban computing and smart cities we mentioned. Embedded computing we also mentioned. Then actor sensor networks is kind of a little bit part, but it was a research domain before we called it Internet of Things. Yeah, M2M communication, that was good in your definition. That means machine-to-machine communication. So it's actually without actual, yeah, other human intervention or programs. Devices can talk to each other. Nobody mentioned actually here mobile computing and wearable computing. That's part of Internet of Things too. Then here hacking and making, there was a very good point about this educational impact of the Internet of Things. And yeah, data we also mentioned. So we create data and we action on data. So that's a really important thing, and that's also where the connectivity to AI comes into place. So you might have heard of predictive maintenance. That is a typical Internet of Things domain, and a big part in what you're actually doing. So for me, Internet of Things is about systems, so not single devices, about connectivity and data. Yeah, here. This what you see here in the corner there is my first Internet of Things presentation ever. Like a long time ago, I met with a friend and we just pulled all the devices together that we had to present something about Internet of Things. And it's a typical smart lock. So it's a smart doorbell. It's kind of really corny example, but it's kind of one of the first things you usually come up with. A smart lock with a smart light. And combining this to have some dual use, that the light is also showing that somebody is at the door. So it's kind of nice that you can use a device for another purpose than it was initially designed for. So, yeah, as I told you, I've done Internet of Things, Internet of Things for quite a while. And after, yeah, and then, you know, when you develop software, when you teach software, you see that you do things again and again. You reinvent the wheel again and again. And then the software engineer says, hey, if you do that all the time, maybe you should start yeah, abstracting from it and make it reusable so that you don't have to reinvent it all the time. Yeah? Let's write some software. And so over the iterations, I came up with an education framework, and this is nowadays called IoT Empower. Yeah, it's an IoT system that I can use in class that empowers the students. And we will actually work today with IoT Empower to build quickly some of our own IoT systems. What is IoT Empower? Yeah, it's a free and open source framework that everybody can use to teach and to prototype the Internet of Things. I would like to bring it to the point that it is more in industrial use too. But that might be one of the challenges for here today. So if you are interested to use it in your project, I'm very happy to help and see maybe in collaboration with you that this comes a step closer to being industrially viable. I think its open source nature is very interesting. It's, I think, to my knowledge, the only MIT licensed IoT framework that is out there. All other IoT frameworks that you can find that are open source are licensed under GPL or a viral license and are therefore not industrial viable because you would give up too much intellectual property. So I think it should have industrial relevance. However, I'm missing maybe some marketing, but that's why I'm here. So that's why I'm exposing you to it in it. So we are, of course, we worked a little bit on marketing our own stuff, and we will later watch a small movie about it, but we basically say IoT Empower packs everything you need to bring your own IoT project ideas to life. So, and I mentioned up there, there's some integration part in it where I use an available software from IBM, an open source software. It's called Node-RED. Node-RED is this software where you can visually program something, so we will actually do that next. And what it also brings is device management. I will show it at one point. All the devices we will have here, I will update them all at once at one point here in the class. So I can actually do multi-device management with Internet of Things, and I hope you would actually confirm that this is a really important thing for, for industry. You don't want to drive to each of the device and then... Yeah. I mean, so you will have these devices, you will take them and we will update them while you actually play with them. So I hope that will be impressive. Yeah, and then I pressed you on that. Does anybody have heard of the idea of publish subscribe or even of an observer pattern? No? But you all know how a chat server works, yeah? You know all how Discord works. Discord follows the publish, subscribe, or observer pattern. And so that basically means it allows a lot of participants easily to communicate with each other. So that's the main paradigm. If we want to build anything in a network with lots of devices, we want to use publish, subscribe. It means you have channels where devices can subscribe to. So we have here this case where we have this kind of central point where you can subscribe. So we have here two clients that subscribe to the channel temperature, and then if you have one device that sends into temperature, both of these devices get it. So we have a little bit, yeah, once upon a time I said it's like Twitter, but you know that's a little bit politically charged at the moment. So I think Discord is a better example. Yeah, so imagine in Discord you have a server that you subscribe to, and in the servers you subscribe to different channels. And so this is basically publish, subscribe. And MQTT allows us to do that in a very lightweight form. It's also open source. And I can run, as we say in our field, I can run MQTT on a toaster. So basically the toaster will have more computational power nowadays than I need to run MQTT. But like this device costs on the market now €1.50, so it's significantly cheaper than a coffee, and yeah, and it has Wi-Fi and it has kind of a little operating system running on it. So if you want to make a device smart, you can put a €1.50 thing in it, and you can probably connect it to the internet this way. If we need connectivity in the car and need LoRa, need a little bit more, or GPRS, it will be a bit more than 150, but even with GPRS receiver, you could probably get for €10 or so. Yeah. You can get 10 to 15 euros. Yeah. So, and let's say for your case, you can potentially get the hardware under €50. if you build it yourself.
Significantly under 50 euros.
Yeah. Yeah, so Node-RED, this integration stuff is a big, is a big part of IoT Empower, and the thing I really want to show you today. So Node-RED allows us, if we have devices on the internet, to merge them into one system. So Node-RED can basically speak all protocols. So you can use CoAP and MQTT, but another protocol we haven't mentioned is actually just HTTP API communication. Yeah, you can totally, I don't know if anybody has programmed and got the weather information out of the net. There's kind of a way to just put in a specific URL and a token, and then you get the current weather information for some area. So you can, there's a node in Node-RED where you can actually put in your token, and then you can add weather information at a specific location to your thing. But Node-RED also talks with smart bulbs, with Zigbee protocol, so you can merge all this into one. So integration is key, and integration is quite easy with Node-RED. Nice thing is Node-RED also, you will see now, it comes with a lot of documentation, so it's very nice if you can actually read up on things on demand. And Node-RED is actually quite well supported by large language models. So you can actually ask ChatGPT how to do some things in Node-RED, and you usually get quite a decent answer. So, I think we have like 1 or 2 more slides, and then you can do stuff here. So that's basically a schema of what we have here on the table. So we have here a router. You will connect all to this one. It's not that one, but I have a lot of these, so that's why that image is in here. I have MQTT running on that router. So we will use the MQTT broker that runs on this router. Then we have different topics, like all these sticks here. Yeah, these are these guys. So I pre-flashed these all, so we will all be in the same network, and we will work with these sticks and send each other messages, because these are in this network. And yeah, you will use your computer to access Node-RED. So well, I don't know, nearly everyone can use one, or use one per team. We will go to Node-RED, which will run on my computer here. I have 10 instances of Node-RED running on my computer, so I will give each of you one to play with. And yeah, and these are the sticks. These sticks are kind of nice because they're like an all-in-one IoT package. They have a couple of sensors in there. So this thing has a screen which can show information. It has 3 buttons. 2 of them are programmable. One is for resetting. And it has connections. So we'll also later connect a temperature sensor to this. So I will actually show you how to add another device to this here. And yeah, these devices can communicate with Wi-Fi and with Bluetooth. Potentially you can add a LoRa receiver to it. You can also add potentially a GPRS receiver to it. And yeah, in a small package we have all this. They're a bit more expensive than these. So these, it's kind of the same architecture. So both of these are expressive devices. This costs €1.50, this costs 15 euros. But for teaching, I like to have, and there's a battery inside, so that also makes it quite nice to use in the classroom. It will not last very long in a truck, so you will probably need a different power solution for that.
Which brands is it?
This is M5 Stack. So the company is M5 Stack. They make the M5 sticks. It's an ESP32. And you will get one, and it's really nice. It has documentation written on the back, so great teaching device. Really like using it. So, then let's start the big chaos and see if we have connectivity. So I have 10 instances for you for Node-RED. Maybe I can use one, and you can use it with multiple users, but it's a little tricky. So I would say, to avoid some chaos, we should see how many people want to play and participate now. I think maybe team up at least with one, so maybe you 2 can use one computer together.
I will use it together. Because I don't understand anything.
Is there anybody online? If nobody is online, we can totally use it in the side of the classroom. So the people who use it, let's use it locally, even if I try to break the firewall. But let's connect to the network IoT Empire B1300 5G. Yeah, so please connect your computer to that network. Password is the Internet of Things. Let's try all to get there. So you should see some kind of version of Node-RED. And if not, I will try to help you.
Some you can check out have the same problems.
Mm-hmm.
Try to connect on the two computers. I heard that there are.
So I will show you the hello world of Node-RED. And so Node-RED is a visual programming or integration editor. So I will show you a little bit the basic elements here. So you see these things on the left. These are called the nodes. And one important node is the debug node. And the nice thing is you see there's lots of documentation. Yeah, if you click a node, things pop up here, and you can a little bit read what this is doing. So yeah, let's use the debug node, and let's use the inject node. Yeah, so we just pull them here. This program is still not doing anything. We have to say the inject node sends something to the debug node. So this is the flow is always from left to right. So you see here we can take this little button and connect these two together. And then when you want to run your program, you have to press this big red deploy button in the upper right corner. Let's do that. And then there is an information panel on the right. You can see here information, documentation. So basically, if you click on the debug node and then click here on help, you can read even more about what the debug node does. Don't need that at the moment, but just to know if you get lost, you can always kind of click on a node and then read up on it. But there's also a little bug here. See this little bug symbol up there? So if you press on that, you get an empty space. And when I now press this button next to timestamp, you see I get an output. So each time I press here, I get a timestamp on the right. So I will do one more change, and then everybody should try to implement that. If you go now here and say, so double click on the timestamp, or right click and say open. Can I do that? Right click? I don't know. No. So I usually just double click on it. Then you get all these options. And then I can say, I don't want to send the milliseconds. I want to send a string. A string is a number of letters. And we say here, hello, IoT, or whatever you want. Then I have to press the red button again, deploy. And if I click now on that, we get hello, IoT there. So we can now generate text, and we can send text somewhere. That's pretty important. So I have a lot of devices here too. And I will now teach you how you can send a message to this device, because you can now create messages. So let's send something to your own screen. And then we start sending something to each other. I will do something, and please watch for a second. So I told you the network communication is all about this MQTT. Yeah? So all these devices are connected to my network. And if you look here, you can either type in here MQTT, then you see that there are MQTT nodes. But you can also just scroll and see here in the network, there's MQTT in and MQTT out. So let's take one of each. So you can actually potentially already connect the hello IoT to MQTT out. But you see there's a little red triangle on it. And we have to add the broker. We have to tell our system that MQTT is running on my router here. So, and for this, we have to add a new broker. If you don't follow along, don't worry, I will come to you and we can do it together. But if you can, do it now. So the MQTT server is on 192.168.18.1. So this is the one number you have to put in. I really should write that somewhere, but we don't have a blackboard.
192?
192.168.18.1.
And port is?
1883, this is the default. Please add the MQTT server. So we are all using the same MQTT server. You see, soon we will start building one system together.
So it's 192.
.168.18.1.
Okay, use the same one for the MQTT out as well?
If you say here add, it will already turn fine on the other one, I think.
No, it's not.
Okay, then you have to go in there and select it here. Yeah. So this should look now without a warning. Let me do it once more. So I will edit this one and delete it again.
Where we have to write it in MQTT in?
Doesn't matter. You can do it on any, but let's do it on MQTT out.
Out. Okay, out it is.
And then you should have here add new MQTT broker. You have a plus sign here. Do the plus sign.
Yeah.
And then on the server, put in this address, 192.168.18.1.
168.
18.1 for everyone, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all talk on the same MQTT server.
18.1?
Mm-hmm. So the cool thing is, an MQTT server, even on that router, can probably easily serve 10,000 clients. So that's actually really, MQTT is a cool protocol because it's so lightweight and you can do a lot of communication there. And it's used,
And the port we have to leave the same.
yeah, it's the same, yeah. And then you say add, and then you say done. You can give it a name here, but you don't. So just say done. So then it should be there. And then here, on the other one that is now still, make sure you select that one. And you, for a second, don't do it. There is a special topic, which is the pound sign. And on the pound sign, we can see everything. But if we now all listen to the pound sign, then there's a lot of network traffic. So let me first do the pound sign here. And then I will take this and send this into the debug node. So basically the topic is listen to all topics when you put in the pound sign. So I do deploy. What's going on? Who is on my server?
We all are there.
No, somebody is on. Oh, sorry. So I am on the wrong one. I'm on 1889. Nobody should be on 88.
80.
But who is on 1889? I'm actually on 1889. So who's?
You was hacked.
Maybe the remote access works. Maybe some of the people remotely.
You connecting.
Yeah. Okay. Then I will just redo it here. Let's see what the remote people are doing. Maybe we see some unexpected message. I will go on 1880 and redo everything. No, leave page. Whatever they are doing online, I don't care. So here I'm on that one. So I needed a debug node. So I have to redefine my server here. 192.168.18.1. Add. And I say I will listen to everything. And then let's see what is coming. There. Let's see. See, there's a lot of stuff going on. A lot of sticks are sending something. So that's when you kind of stop debugging because it gets a little bit overwhelming. And the nice thing is now if you, I don't know, can anybody see this? So these are the messages. And you see here the different topics that are coming in. There's scale 01 weight. There is my debug messages, the scale. In here you see it's like something like sticks 22 LED. Yeah, and these are different scales. Sticks 20 temperature. And here another weight. But you see there's all the form for the sticks. We have sticks slash then the number of the stick, and then below we have some other values. And I will now tell you to send a message, you have not to put in temp or so, you have to put in console. Or we can actually say now, just for measuring, I have, I think, stick 20, 21, and 22 here in front. So I will now listen just to sticks 20 pound. Yeah, so you can take the number of your sticks and can listen to your stick number with the pound sign.
So this stick slash
Sticks slash number, what your stick shows, and slash pound.
Topic? I didn't catch that.
Sticks, number of your stick, minus 20, and then the pound sign. Or hashtag.
So I have to enter that in the topic field, or
Yes, in the topic, in the MQTT in topic. And then pipe the output to the debug, so you can see everything what's off your stick.
so wait, that was my stick number minus
Hashtag.
No. Your stick number should be 5 or so.
right.
You put in, instead of 20, you put in 5.
Okay, so I just put in okay.
If it's 0, 1, we're on 1, right?
No, it's 0, 1 then. Sorry, I must have.
Also it's
Yes,
1 or 1.
good question. And it's 0, 3. So if it shows 0, 1, then you put in 0, 1. Put in what your stick shows. So minus 2, 0, yours might be 0, 5, 0, 6, or whatever. And then the hashtag. And if you deploy, and here we can clean things if you press the little garbage can. So I need to give you one more crazy addition. It's like how you can send to your neighbor things. And how you can actually send messages to you. So, oh yeah, I switched off debugging. That's why mine is. So, mistake happened often. If you click here on the debug node on the little tab, then it turns off the debugging, which is helpful, but it happens sometimes when you don't intend to do it. So minus stick 20. Yeah, my buttons work too. So, and now we use the inject node and send each other send ourselves a message, and then we start sending each other messages when we press the button. And then comes the temperature, and that's where it maybe starts getting a little bit more interesting for you. Yeah. So this is, we will put this thing on there, and then we can measure temperature on the device. So I showed that already to them. If you send something to a stick with a topic console, you see that on the screen. So I will actually now say here a string that you guys all have that. I say hello from number 20. And I will make an output MQTT out. And I'm stick number 20. And here I have to say my server, and the topic is stick 20 slash 20 slash console. And then if I put it in here, and I trigger this, it should come out on my stick. Yeah. And I don't know if I need to show that somewhere on the camera. I'm not sure you guys can see that. Oh, you can? Yeah. And so if we change this, what are you guys? Or why don't you send me a message?
You just did it. You just have input the topic, yes?
Yeah. Why don't you put in 20? Send your message also to 20. You can make a second note and send a message to 20, so send me a message.
It is console, yeah? It is
Yeah.
MQT.
You can actually take your own output, say Control C, Control V, so you can just copy or in Apple it's probably Apple C and Apple C. So,
Could you please, yeah,
do you want to, what are you?
08.
08, okay, so 08.
So you are what? You are 20?
I'm 20, yeah. So I will now send you a message. You get one?
Yeah.
You can actually do even colors, but I show you later.
Okay, did you get?
Ah, let's see.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello, yes.
That's for me.
So,
Pretty much we can put all the...
so I want you now to send a message to somebody else when you press the button.
When you press the button.
Yeah.
Okay, that is MQT in.
You need one more note for this.
But it is MQT in.
Yes. So you want to press the button, trigger sending a message. You actually need two notes for this. So there's a note is called switch. Switch. So maybe check the, so you need a switch note. And this is annoying up here, this comment. So let's remove this comment. Please check whatever, so we can just delete it. And so we need a switch note. And we need to listen to the button. So you all have actually, when you listen, you see a button pressed. So for me, it's this home button. The big button is the home button, and the one button under the display is the below, is the bottom button. Yeah. So you see a little bit. You see this topic here, and you see actually that mine has the temperature sensor connected. It also sends temperature values, but that comes later for you guys. So if you see here, the button is either home or bottom, and it sends released or pressed. So basically what we want to listen to, so we copy this input note and say here we listen on home. Yeah, so then we only get, so I will disconnect the debug here, so, and connect this in here. And then if we press, we will see I only get the one button. That's the only thing that now comes in there. So I can take this, and then I can take the switch node, and the switch node I can, it's like an if statement. I can say, hey, if the value is pressed, I want to have an output, and if it's not pressed, I don't want to have an output. So now, if I do that, I only get pressed out here. So if I would now wire that directly to my friend on stick 8, he would get pressed each time I press the button. Which is a bit boring, but do you get pressed?
So, wait, what did I?
Yeah, I do.
So of course we want to change the value now to actually send a real message. So
Yeah,
that's
but
why...
I send you the message as well.
Oh, hi from Carmon, yes. But you're sending with the button or with the inject node?
Not yet, not yet.
Oh, still, we want to...
Wait, so what do we have to change in the second input node?
So you have to just listen to home. You can always look at the topics here, and you just have to select one topic. Don't use the pound sign, select
What's
a...
your number?
Hmm?
What's your...
My number is 20.
And then
Don't spam me too much.
Wait, what did we have to put?
There's something coming in the chat room. Is somebody trying remotely?
How did you configure the switch?
I mean, you can read the manual, but you basically here it's an equal. So you just say if it equals pressed, then send something.
press and payload, and what you have to...
I'm checking payload. This is what is sent.
Yeah,
And if it's a payload is pressed,
yeah.
then I forward. If it's something else, I don't forward. This way, only when I press the button, I send a message. And then when I release it, I don't send a message.
So now you should get a message from me.
I should get pressed. Oh no.
I'm pressing, yeah.
Some kind of, I don't know, jazz up or so, or was up, because the something on the display is a little bit, so I don't, the first letter I can't read.
It
But,
should be pressed.
pressed, yeah. But I get something from you guys, too.
Did you get
What's up?
something from me?
Probably.
09.
I only see 5 lines on the thing. Let me show you how you can send a real message, because you have to basically, instead of forwarding pressed, so if you debug this, you will see it's always pressed. So we want to change the value, and the node for changing the value, you wouldn't believe it, is called change. So if I put this one here in between, I can say here I send the payload hello from the front. And now if I send it to stick 8, it should work. So now if I press the button, you should get, so I can now go to you. We should actually be able to do it directly. I think we all can send messages around. This is perfect. So let me think what I show you next. So I have the scales and the NFC sensors here, but I think we should do the temperature first, and I should show you the dashboard so that when we get the temperature data that you actually see, yeah, that there's some data that shows us something. So let's first go to the temperature, and then when we get the temperature data, I will show you how to display it in a nice way on UI. So I have, oh, and that's actually on my slides. So here's a little bit of a manual, how you have to build this. So you see that this thing has ports, yeah? And we want to actually attach a temperature sensor to this. This is a Dallas or a DS18B20, and you get these also for very cheap as commercial industrial sensors that are wrapped. So nearly in all devices that measure normal temperature, these Dallas sensors are in. It's just I took these that are on the development board because I had them available. So else I would have given you some more complex one. But I wanted you to wire one thing. So it's not all about programming and wiring in a UI. Sometimes you have to put cables together and solder something eventually. So I wanted to give you a little bit the experience of wiring. So you have to now take one of these devices per stick, and you have to wire them in this way that I describe here. So these are basically, here you have ground, 5 volts, and one port. It's called G26. And on this shield, they are nearly called the same. They're called ground, 5 volts, and D2. So you have to wire ground to ground, 5 volts to 5 volt, and G26 to D2. You all need 3 cables of this and one of these devices for me. So why don't you come and pick some up? Yeah, three cables.
Thank you.
Is it? Yeah, and one of the here. You can get that one. So should have 3 different colors.
Yes.
3 different colors and one of these.
Yeah, perfect.
And 3 different colors and one of these. Look, are they even together? 3 different colors.
And I can take two times.
You want to have 2? Okay, because you have 2 sticks. Good. Then you can make a complicated temperature. Oh, these are different colors. To my own stick, and you have seen that on mine the temperature is kind of working, but if we listen to one of yours, we will not see the temperature. Guys, when we're doing more projects, just one hint, so you can actually document stuff, so you can call your flow testing or something, and then you can make a new flow where you do something else. So if you have different processes, we can have several flows. If you we can actually name some of our nodes. Here was actually C if pressed. Then so a little bit documentation goes a long way to reading the flow. And here we say set new message, or overwrite message. So then it just looks nicer. So just as a hint, there's also comments here. So we can also write something in here and say this looks all very pretty. But of course you should write better documentation than more info. see something like that, yeah. So this way we can make it a little bit nicer. So I wanted to actually show you that my stick already does temperature. So actually I happen to know that there's a topic called temp. And so, oh, that was wrong. I want to copy this here and then connect the debug node and only show me the temperature. So, and see, you see 24 degrees. It's kind of plus minus 1 degree centigrade, so these are not super precise. You might have to calibrate them if you really roll them out. So if I will touch it now, you will see that the temperature slowly goes up. 37, 28, so it's actually live. If you add temp for you, you will not see it. So what is missing, do you think? What is different between my device and your devices?
I have to give the address. Find it.
Yeah, so we have to somehow tell your device to use this.
Exactly.
So now I will show you. So IoT Empower is integration. So I just use Node-RED for integration. And there's other software too for integration if you want it smaller. But IoT Empower is also device management. So let's look at the code, what we actually have here. So let me make a big window to show you where the code is. So an IoT system in IoT Empower is in a folder. And so we have here this system Masterclass Riga. So here's everything I prepared for you guys. In my class, you would actually start preparing these folders yourself. So if you have more time, we could actually show you what it is. And the device philosophy in IoT Empower is one device, one line. Yeah, so I don't know if you have programmed Arduino. If you want to control something in Arduino, what's the minimum amount of lines of code you think you put in? 10 to 50, yeah? So depending on how complex it is, yeah? So my idea is one. Have you ever programmed something network in Arduino? So kind of talking to MQTT. So it's so usually if you want to have MQTT communication, you will have 500 lines of code. Just to make sure that nothing goes wrong and that the multitasking and so on work. So for each device, usually you would have to program 500 lines of code. My idea was, can we do it in one? So we have here the sticks. And now I show you what the code of each of these sticks is. Here is the code, what this stick is. So it has an LED. We haven't even played with this, so you can turn on and off an LED that is in there. And this LED is called LED. So it's an output, and it's called LED. And here it's on the onboard LED, and it's an inverted LED, and it's switched off. So this is called fluent style. It's a programming pattern. So basically, I can add all the different features to a device with chaining them in the programming. So you see the two buttons you have placed with the buttons. The names is here. It's the home button and the bottom button. So we could rename it here. And then we have the M5 Stick C display, which is console, called console. So that's how you program an IoT Empower. So you want to know what you can all program in IoT Empower. So you go to IoT Empower on the network, and then you look into documentation, and here in Node Help, and then we can, for example, see how do displays work. And then here's documentation, how you specify a display in IoT Empower. Or when there is, I don't know why this guy is probably doing too much now on there. Then we have the temperature thing here. No, this is the dollar sensor, as I said, or DS, where is it? Oh, it's actually, I think, under temperature. So let's find temperature. Yeah, see, there's some sensors that's called DHT, or here the DS18B20. So basically, we need this line here to add to it to talk to the temperature. And so it has a name and the pin. So that's all we need to know. We use pin 26. So this way, we know we just have to add this device with 26. I have prepared that already for you. It's like a cookie show. And it's actually, you see, I just commented it out here. So we just have to comment it in. So when I go to all the sticks, and comment it in, and then I will send you all the update over the air. So the first time you ever program one of these devices, you have to connect it to the computer, but after it's connected, IoT Power can manage them remotely as long as they are on the network. So I will go now to all the sticks, because I don't know exactly which ones you have, and we'll enable. You see there's also an IMU, so if you are interested later in today, you can actually shake this device and you can measure that it has movement. So you can turn it around so it measures with a gyroscope how it is moved. It could be interesting for predictive maintenance to see if there's a lot of rattling going on. I think I even have a microphone in there. Also nice to actually see if something is happening with the machinery around it. So yeah, this device can probably do very few functions of what you need.
Is it inside the device already?
Yeah. And a microphone too, so that's actually also nice for processing. So I have two sticks, so I will give all the sticks the temperature sensor. I didn't enable the device for the gyroscope because it sends so much data, and then I would need to explain you how we do filtering on the device to reduce the amount of network data. But I've done a class once with all these devices, and there was so much network data just with people moving the device around that I decided for this class we will only enable it if you can prove in your project that you wanted it. So let's enable that. Of course, that is a little tedious. I think here in 20 it should be enabled already. I see that's the one that I use. And 21, it's disabled, and 22 is also disabled. And so the cool thing is now, if I use IoT Power, so I'm in my IoT environment, I can either do a single device, or if I now am in this directory, I just say deploy, and it will send to all our sticks the update. So it's now sent. No, it just reboots after a while. So I'm now doing stick 1. So now it's sending stick 1, or not. Maybe stick 1 is not online. Okay. So then we'll take a second. I get a log later what was successful and what wasn't. Where's stick 1? Where's stick 1? Nobody has stick 1. Let's see.
This one maybe is still charging.
Now this one was switched off. Ah. Yeah, it might have been this. No, this is stick 4. But stick 1 was just turned on, and now I'm sending it. So now stick 20, this is my own, which has the software already. Yeah, yeah. So you see it's blinking when it's receiving that. And my cable came out, and of course I should turn it off first, but. So what is the next one? And yes, it could be done in parallel potentially too, but that's a feature I have not implemented yet.
The Teslas are updating usually. The Teslas are usually updating in parallel.
Yeah.
I have been once in their service area when they are updating low and flashing with the lights. Oh,
So-
hardware is updating.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you should start being, so as soon as it now reboots, it has a little slow booting. Yeah, now it's rebooting.
No,
And then,
yeah. No.
and now you should be able to get the temperature.
Now it's reboot. Okay, now it's reboot.
Yeah.
Right, so why did we have to do with the knowledge? We had to like,
You just have to wait until my update arrives at you.
right, but I didn't have to like change anything. So the notes from the, the previous.
We can't how do you get the temperature to actually show up?
Oh, you have to listen to temp. So you listen to bottom, like to home. Instead of home, you have to listen to temp now. Yeah. So just make a copy and listen to temp. And yeah.
So wait, I make a copy.
Make a copy of the home one, of the button thing that you were listening to.
So okay, of my signal.
Yeah. If you want, you can already install the dashboard. Or actually, if your temperature doesn't work, you can ask these guys to send the temperature to you. Or you can Let's see, maybe I forgot it there too. Usually the problem sits in front of the computer. So I will check 02. As you see. Ah, your temperature works.
It is my temperature you're sending maybe to you.
No. See, I'm listening now on the console to your temperature and it comes out. So 3, you think? I forgot? That could be. No, 3 is definitely... Should I send it again? So I actually did it. I mean, you have one working, so in some ways I think you should count it as a... Yeah. So try to send it. You managed. Install the Node-RED dashboard. So I will explain that, but you know where to find the...
Now I need to send it to the device itself.
Yes. Which is just one wire, so it's super trivial, actually. Does it work? Let me see. Your guys is sent. Yeah, you get a... No. Huh? You get it on console? Oh, that's weird. I must have done something weird here. Are you sending to your console? Sorry. Ah. But no, there's no temperature. This is from the other one, yeah? Oh, there's temperature, but why it's coming on the console? No, it's because you send it there. Good, so that's now gone. It seems like it might be a hardware problem. We are nearing the end of what I can show you, but we can then spend as much time as we want to do some experimentation afterwards. However, I will now show you the UI, then I will show you the little movie that I have to inspire you, and then we spend the time to move on. But I show you now one really cool thing in Node-RED, which is the plugins. And one of the plugin is a UI plugin. This will explain a little bit more, but you can look at other things too. So if you are on Node-RED and open this menu here, the burger menu, and go to Manage Palette, then you can go to Install, and you want to, for example, do Zigbee or so, you could search for Zigbee. If you want to do something with serial, you could search for serial, but we want to install the dashboard. So there are thousands of modules to connect to some kind of web services here. Or here, co-op. Yeah? So you mentioned co-op. There is a co-op API. So if you want to mix MQTT and co-op, you can just add it here as a plugin. Search for dashboard. So we want to install the Node-RED dashboard. And basically, basically we'll watch my inspirational video. I want you to think if this connects or what points connect to your own project there. Then we will discuss this together and finish the class. So, 2 minutes, pay attention.
Did you know you have the power to tackle the environmental crisis as well as support and inspire your local community hands-on, with ease and without breaking the bank? Join us and engage in teaching the IoT Empower way. You will discover and explore a ready-made IoT teaching framework with curated software and a list of affordable hardware, lots of videos and documentation, as well as easy to set up connectivity solutions. Experience true challenge-based education, an open concept classroom, and innovative evaluation techniques based on portfolios, contract-based assessment, risk-taking, and ungrading. Develop yourself in an interdisciplinary exchange with plenty of guest speakers. Discovering your own story and challenge will be a fun pass. Come, create solutions for real-world challenges like many previous students before. Be inspired by their projects like building a smart planter for growing your own healthy food inside student dorms, supporting scientists collecting forest data in an affordable mobile way, using home automation for improving quality of life in nursing homes, helping your own business grow by implementing a smart truck weighing station, and bringing the artists closer to the audience by creating a gesture-based music mixing station. You have the power to build all of this and more. Teaching the IoT Empower Way allows us to empower students, instructors, and industry professionals. We are a growing and evolving community, passionate about teaching and creativity. Join our community and share your challenges, ideas, and stories.
Wanted to shout out, I don't know if anybody online or so hears it, or maybe that could be a base even just for future discussions in between us. I mean, actually today worked quite okay, so I think most of the things that went wrong were just normal connectivity issues and one broken hardware board. But there are other issues that I hid from you today, so if you go to the website you will see that actually on the issue tracker there are a lot of wrong things. And basically I would like to shout out that I would like to do more projects with IoT Empower and get feedback and yeah, or maybe even involve other people, other players to fix some things and then build a community that enables also other people to work on it. So if this resonates with you, if you want to try it out and also go a little deeper in the programming, I'm very happy to support you. Maybe it fits to a project and then we can go deeper and try also other devices. So there's much more support of the different devices in IoT Empower directly. Node-RED or even the other integration framework IoT-NIT can be used to implement a lot of display monitoring, reaction around a couple of sensors. So maybe that was inspiring. I have a request from one of my stakeholders to develop the system to a point that it can be deployed in emerging economies, so economies that are just coming up, where there's not millions of dollars to install light switches in a house, but only a couple of dollars. So again, commercial buildings, one light switch here in Europe costs about 500 euros in a smart environment, while we can, with IoT Empower, do it for 10. Well, we don't have all the certifications, but you can weigh that depending on where you deploy it. But we have one stakeholder who wants to develop an easily to deploy power sensor for apartments. So there's an electric company that is interested in making it very easy for unskilled laborers to take one of the devices, install it in a power box which monitors 16 apartments, so you can have the power usage of these 16 apartments. But this is not a system, that is a single device, so we need something to very simply configure the Wi-Fi setup, which I did for you in advance. We didn't even deal with this today. So it's still like a line of code here. Would be nice to develop something that is more like an Android app where you can connect to the device and just put in the password or just scan a password from a device and then it is connected. So that is an open task. I think there could be even some financing for it, so I have a little bit of funding, so if somebody is interested in that, we can go there or even join forces to bring that project further. And as this device is single and in the internet, at the moment I'm using cleartext MQTT, so that is quite insecure. We need to just update the existing MQTT implementation to secured MQTT implementation. So that's basically changing out the library. So not much work, but of course it has some ripple effects. So these are the two most important issues: easy configuration and secure communication, and then I would be able to deliver on that project. Could be even a hackathon project, I don't know, but so if you're interested, let me know for another hour or two, and if you have specific questions, you can play with the other devices. I can make the scale and stuff accessible to you, but I think I have strained you enough. So if you don't mind, I will leave it up for an hour, because I think we still have this room for an hour.
We have.
And
Till 5 o'clock.
yeah. Then feel free to be inspired and see if we can go a little deeper. I can talk about